Folks, welcome back to the College Cod Bravo stream. My name is Seymour, hopping in for Sassano, and next to me, Cruz, like you saw last series. So nothing's changing in the caster booth on the opposite end of me. But here in the teams, we're going to swatch up the match now to our second match of the night. We're looking at Arlington Mavericks versus the Austin Longhorns, Jesse. And I am super stoked to get in with these two teams.
Yeah, me too. I mean, this is looking like it's going to be a really good series. West Division team matchup. And I mean, like you said, both these teams have been looking very good to start this season off. But the big thing is right now is this is really a fight for the battle of third place within this division right now, with both these teams having just, they're both sitting at what, 6-2, 5-3, but then you've also got two other teams in this division at Tamu Maroon at 6-2, Texas Tech at 5-3. It's a gauntlet right now to find who's going to be in the third place spot to finish out this division.
Well, it's like you're looking at both of these teams, and they kind of have a shadow of another team right now. That's who's ready to kind of take their spot if they fall. So there's a lot riding on the line, not even just between these two. It's like you're out, somebody else is going to immediately take your spot. So I think that's the scariest part about the whole thing when you're kind of looking at both of these two teams going up against each other, Jesse. So that's going to be crazy, especially when, I mean, they're not even on like the same playing field right now. If Longhorns don't show up, I mean, sitting 5-3, they're going to take a big hit.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, you've got SEU at 8-0, you've got Texas State at 7-1, and I mean, those two teams are not falling out of the top two spots. Let's be honest. They are two of our top teams inside of CCL. So when you're looking at this right now, you've got Tamu Maroon being that team sitting inside at 6-2 at the moment. They've yet to go up against some of the tougher competition, though. So that team, they're still very much so susceptible to falling out of that top two spot or out of that top three spot. So both these teams, they're on the outside looking in right now. And I feel like neither team could really afford a loss right now, like you were saying.
No, they can't. But we've talked enough about the division. Let's talk a little bit about these two teams and the head-to-head that we're going to be seeing between them. It's the Arlington Mavericks, the Austin Longhorns, folks. An exciting one indeed. The implications are ginormous. And honestly, like Jesse said, you don't want to lose a map. When you look at these two teams, it's almost identical, not even just in the season record, but in the hard points, the search, and the control as well. There's a little bit here and there, but, I mean, they're just small differences.
Yeah, very, very minor differences, like you said. I mean, not as many control wins for the likes of University of Texas at Arlington. And I think one thing that we didn't even hit on, Colin, is that this is a Texas battle again. I know we've got a lot of Texas schools, so it's kind of not as big as what it normally is when we've got two Texas schools going on, because we basically have a division of Texas here. But, I mean, when you're looking at these two schools, one team is going to end up coming out on top tonight. The other team is going to be extremely disappointed. And I feel like this might be a little bit more important for the University of Texas at Arlington. They are at 6-2. They are kind of tied for that last spot right now within their division. It's just going to come down to whether or not they can take this series. Because if they lose to Texas, if they lose to Longhorn, that's when their season could get really, really scary. And that's when you're probably going to end up being out on the outside looking in.
It's going to be scary indeed, folks, but I think it's about time. Let's introduce our teams for the day. The UTA Mavericks coming in together. High Tech, Strident's, Prodigy, Schlepp. They've been having a good run so far, 6-2 going into this matchup right now. And a lot of these players, they've been showing up. But one specifically, it's been Prodigy.
Yeah, you're looking at Prodigy to be the main slayer on this UTA team. Very, very talented player. He definitely is always popping off within our respawns. Even sometimes in Search and Destroy, it's a little bit harder to be the pop-off player there, but he gets the job done where he needs to. And then on the other side, we have the Longhorn roster. And this team, they are absolutely no slouches of their own. And, I mean, that's going to be Velocity, Saucy, Mickey, and Mence. And, I mean, that M&M combo is just absolutely disgusting.
Absolutely disgusting. Let's bring them in. Let's introduce our away team for the day over on the opposite side. The Austin Longhorns, like you said, Velocity, Saucy, Mickey, Menace. And you coined it yourself, M&M, Mickey, and Menace. You got to be looking out for them because, I mean, Jesse, when you're talking about M&M on this team, and we're talking about Prodigy on the other, the whole question is who's going to help Prodigy?
Yeah, it really is. That is the big question, is who's really going to help Prodigy. And I mean, we were talking about it before. We think that Schlepp and Stridents are both looking like they could be that number 2 slayer. They need to step up to the plate a little bit here in this series. They've kind of been the reason why when this team loses, they end up falling behind a little bit more. So we'll have to see if they can step up a little bit more. But when looking at Longhorn, I mean, this team is really good from top to bottom. I really don't know where they ended up losing a lot of these series out. I mean, you got a 3-1 or 3-0 loss to Texas State. You got a 3-0 loss to SEU. Those are two matches that you kind of expect to lose to. And then you also lose to the other top 3 team in Tamu Maroon. So it's just tough when you're looking at the Longhorns. It's like you're in a very tough division, but this team is very good and absolutely has all the potential in the world to take this match off the Mavericks.
A lot of it, and we were talking about, is going to come down to the maps that we're getting through this series. Let's take a look at our battlefield, Jesse, because this is going to be a big decider on a lot of these modes for these teams. You know, a lot of specific maps for certain teams of the Longhorn and the Mavericks. So when we look at the battlefield, it's a whole lot of Tuscan. It's a whole lot of Bocage. We got back, basically. Tuscan, Bocage, and a Tuscan search to end it off. But as I said, Jesse, I mean, it's not just the implications of the players. I mean, the maps are going to play a big part here.
Yeah, they are. And I mean, like you said, we got a Bocage and a Tuscan Big Mac. It's we got all the buns with Tuscan. You got the little meat and the filler as Bocage in the middle there. If we do end up seeing this full distance series, it's going to be a lot of the same maps. And I mean, I'm going to get so sick and tired of Tuscan by the end of the season, because I feel like every series I'm seeing from lately, it has just been a triple dose of Tuscan. But you know, I'm here for it. It's the first time we've seen that triple dose come through today. Not like the other day when me and you were casting the same Longhorns team. We saw, what was it, a triple dose of Tuscan to start our first 3 series off of the day. That's all we had. But you know what? We're getting a little bit better. We're back on CCL now. These guys, they're not just going to make us play it one by one. They're going to spread it out a little bit here as you look through the series.
I think it's so big, too, that we're seeing consistency out of Tuscan maps. You know, coming in with another 3-peat of Tuscan. It goes to show that we know Longhorn have been here. We saw them do it last week when we were casting them. And when we're looking at Mavericks, they have a big shoe to fill right now, because Longhorn, they are deadly on their Tuscans. And the fact that they got 3 of them here, you got to watch out for that. So big key out of the Mavericks is who's going to step up to the plate to shut down Eminem with Prodigy. I mean, you look at who can do it. Schlepp, Stridence, both players, they can be that number 2. But into a Tuscan hardpoint that's super fundamental, you got to be watching out for the rotations, because you know Eminem, they are going to be on point for those rotations, and you need to set up early if you're Mavericks.
Yeah, I could not agree more. You really do need to make sure these rotations are on lock. And you know what? Honestly, I got so kind of distracted by the fact I thought that maps count was a Big Mac that I didn't even get to touch on. My biggest point looking at that map count was I think that the early part of that map count really favors the Mavericks, because the later that map count goes, it kind of gets a little bit scarier and scarier. Because when you look at that map 4, that is the map that you've seen the Mavericks lose both their hard points on. I mean, they've lost 3 on the season, but 2 out of the 3 have been a Bocage hard point. So I mean, that is a good map for you to get as the Texas Longhorns. You need to be making sure you're taking full advantage of the fact that that is one of their weaker maps. You need to come out. You need to at least get to that map give yourself the chance to get to that game 5. But I think that's where the tough test is really going to come in at.
It's a battle of attrition, folks. So let's take a journey into Tuscan Hardpoint to start this one off. Mavericks going to be on the right, Longhorns on the left. Already, you can see good time for Longhorn, a whole 15 seconds and counting, 36 in the bank, and the velocity is just holding them off. It's full 4 down for Mavericks, looking on the respawn to try to get through things, but one by one, they're dropping a force spree early for velocity, trying to play for the streaks around the corner. There's the glide bomb, not going to count for the player behind them, still gets a snap, can't finish it, so glide bomb for Longhorn, a lot of time for them as well.
Huge win as well. Saucy follows him up in through Monument and actually finds 2 more kills in the back. That flips the spawns out as well for Longhorns here. So not only do they get a perfect start off the rip here, but now they hold onto the right-hand side of the map. They can try to get these rotational battle 1 over towards this right-hand side. They're actually going to chalk the last little bit of time here and put their full focus on rotating over to P2.
That's what I wanted to see from them. Schlepp up top on the platform. Have a one-on-one on the outside. Velocity reads it. It's a good time for Longhorns once again. Still 50 seconds, so it's early into this hill too. Mavericks are going to have to cross this map, but look at the pressure. Player number 4 is just cutting them off. Saucy, inside radio. Nobody can even cross this. 3 in a row for Saucy. Can't find a 4th. But everybody's set up now for the Longhorns, and, I mean, Mavericks are just in the danger zone.
They really are. Not only are you down 60 seconds, but you've also given up streaks to velocity at the start of this game as well. And he's looking to maybe even double up on these streaks as he finds 4 in a row here. Will he choose to invest this glide bomb or just play for the streaks immediately? And it's going to be a glide bomb invest.
Why not?
He's going to get a ton of information on this rotation on where all of these players are actually. So now once they choose to make this rotation across the map, they know all the information. And if you're the Mavericks here, you are still getting shut out at this point of the game. You absolutely need to answer back with a huge hold here on this Fountain Hill. But you've already got a break and a good chance for a break coming in from the Longhorns on the right-hand side.
Split spawn for the Mavericks. Saucy's found his way in. Shot at the Prodigy. He's going to clear the hill. Now Mavericks only 1 point can be gained. Velocity in the back. Clear cut. Gets schlepped from behind. That's 5 in a row for Velocity, so that double up of streaks is going to come through. Playing for the strafing run, but not expecting the side swipe. So Velocity is going to go down. Prodigy, the one to put the nail in the coffin. Mavericks going to go hop on this hill now, fighting from the front. You see the respawns from the Longhorn. They're going to be all the way through P1. So they still have to get this pinch from Mickey underway. They're finally going to put some players down. It's 3 out of the hands of Longhorn. Schlapp's going to get the 4th. That's a good hold.
It is a good hold, and it's one that they absolutely need at this point of the game. I mean, if you gave up a big break to Longhorns early on there, you're probably looking at a 120-point deficit after 3 hills. Not what you want, so a good answer back here. They're going to at least get 40 on this hill, and now we need to look towards the next. And a big one-on-one, actually one through the middle of the map. High Tech takes one out, so this could now give the spawns in the back to UTA. If they can win these spawns and string these 2 hills together, they're right back into it.
High Tech players all over the place. Sharks in the water. That's the Longhorns. You might not even think they're Longhorns anymore. They just got to be sharks in the water at this point. Mavericks, trouble breathing this deep in the sea. And Tuscan has been nothing but painful so far. They had a good run in the Fountain Hill, but now you got to break this hill. Schlepp is going to find 2 to open up. Velocity paves the way out front, and the players off respawn take care of the friends. So Mavericks, another 4 down. Longhorns, they cross the 100-point threshold. Still 30 seconds inside Church, Jesse. And Mavericks, they just can't get close to touching it.
But even with 30 seconds left, look at what Longhorns are doing. This is a beautiful play because with them pushing out the top left here, I thought we were going to get a spot on the right-hand side for UTA. It's not going to be the case. So, unfortunately, what looked like was going to be a great play from Longhorns, it doesn't end up working out. The squad spawns come through. You end up spawning up on the left side here still for UTA. But if that play works out and the spawns come in the way that I thought they were about to, you would have had a perfect break and a perfect kind of rotation from the likes of Longhorn over to this left-hand side. But instead, now you've got UTA set up early here inside Command Center.
You see why this team is dangerous? It's just because they're so fundamentally good at the late game. Longhorns now look for the break into P5. Mavericks here first. Stridence is going to clear the way of Mickey's and platform, so we're going to push some map control. Our UTA, 3 players in for the swing. Stun's going to be out there. High Tech's going to find the first. Shots to the door on Menace. Still finding the kill. They line up for Schlepp, but it's 1-for-1 trade. Velocity's on in. Prodigy, the dagger, is going to take that last player down. Still 32 seconds to fight for, so you look at the Longhorns and take another swing at this, and Saucy is swing out of the park right now. Clears it. Longhorns are going to be in for time.
It's a good 20 seconds that they could still get onto this hill. That's why you're seeing UTA taking one more shot at this. They've got 2 players outside of Command Center trying to make the break on in, and they will. They'll get the back 20 seconds, or sorry, the back 10 seconds here. But the issue is, though, is you've lost the rotation now over towards the new hill, back over towards Monument. You do win 3 gunfights through middle of the map, though, so it gives you a good amount of presence. You can now try to break back in.
Longhorns in there. You got to remember, Velocity has that streak, Jesse. So the streak very well could be the catalyst to get Longhorns back into this. Saucy through the middle is going to find 1. Velocity to double down. Prodigy trying to swim right inside the hill. 1 HP, though. The sun's going to take him down. So Longhorns get the break back in. Chilling inside this hill at the moment. 133 to 80 is the time into the second set. 37 seconds to fight for. Mavericks take another swing. It's 4 down. Mickey was able to find 1. So off the respawn, Longhorns, they are going to hit back into this hill right off the rip. Saucy's going to clear it. In comes Stridence now, clearing the way for his teammates. Last one in the back. Mickey, can you stay alive with 20 seconds here? Do you even hit this?
That's the answer you needed from UTA here. A big monument hold to get them right back into this. Should get to right around that 110-point mark at the end of this hill. And now it's all about those rotations over towards Column. We saw it the last time through. Longhorn was able to piece hills 1 and 2 together, give them a big 80-point lead off the start of this game, and UTA is looking to try to do the exact same thing here. Get to 110 points. Now they get the rotation. Now they get the spawns as well in the back, and now they can try to hit this as a 4-man unit.
Oh, this is going to be a big break. Longhorn's going to be expecting it. Seems like it's a big yes right off the bat. Shrine's still alive in the back on 4 in a row. This could be transitions into streaks. Clears out Mickey. Feeds the information to Prodigy around the corner. See you later, Velocity. Hop that glide bomb now into the pockets of the Longhorns. Stun from Menace is going to clear it before it gets any dangerous. And here come Longhorns back on in. Menace with that stun open things up. Saucy's going to close the door. Velocity in from the top ropes into the hill now for the clear. 25 seconds to fight for. You see the Mavericks, they still want this time, and they are still fighting for this, but this is huge that Prodigy's in for the time for right now, because look at the teammates. They're hightailing it over to Fountain.
They absolutely are. And now UTA, they want to get this rotation, like you said, over towards this new hill, because, I mean, even with the rotational battle one and the last hill, they barely were able to lock down all of the time. Saucy will try to make a hit through the front. He'll be the only player here following up Velocity's glide bomb, and Velocity gets one, but no, Menace can't find the kills in the back, so this should still be early spawns to the likes of UTA, unless player number 6 has something to say. Actually, I'm so sorry. That's a player on Mavericks. His arrow looked a little white for a second there.
Menace finds Prodigy. Clears out that player number 6 that you were so keen on, Jesse. And now it's time for Longhorns to make their move. Still in the inside is High Tech, trying to soak up this time for Mavericks. Struggling, though, to get their utility in here. The Longhorns are boxed out. And they come. Velocity finds Slap in the back. Prodigy laying prone in such a weird position. It's just picking them off one by one. You don't even know where to look. Oh, the pistol. He's not getting the shots off, but the beatdown from behind. It's a dagger in the back of Longhorns. And Mavericks, they are tying us up, Jesse.
Big one-on-one here. So not going to see a lead change at the end of this hill as Velocity makes one final push for that 10 seconds. That could end up being a 20-second swing of scrap time here going to the likes of the Mavericks, or sorry, going to the likes of the Longhorns once Velocity wins that out. But Velocity's who once started this game off so well is now 20-19, Colin. He was like 10-2 to start the game, so very clearly starting to struggle. The longer this game has gone along, the more and more UTA has heated up throughout this map. And once again, the first team to the hill is UTA back inside. Not a lead change yet, but very possibly could come through here because they still hold on to those back spawns.
Not a lead change, but it's neck and neck. In comes Menace. Opens things up with the automaton. Oh, the strafing run and the glide bomb on this key player, but now only one alive inside the church. Going to go down. Shrining's 3 in a row. Drops the Prodigy on the wraparound. Schlepp cuts off Longhorn's pinch. Now everybody funneling in for the front line. Prodigy finds one. Prodigy 2 with the help of High Tech. Mavericks, they flip the lead and they are running.
Flip the lead, and they have spawns for the new hill as well, so this could be very, very well for them. Prodigy takes a big gunfight outside. Saucy absolutely needed to answer back with a gunfight win there. He does, and now they need to find and isolate this player out bottom command center. They do. This should be a good early setup here for the Longhorns, and absolutely one they need to answer back with as they're now down 30.
At one point, this seemed like a tale of David versus Goliath, but Mavericks, they have come alive to show me that is not the case. Stridents, wow, breaks on in, single-handedly takes down 3. Menace gonna be forced to call a glide bomb just to try to shake things up through the window. Not gonna find anything with it, so Longhorns, they gotta take to the gun skill. Menace is gonna take down Prodigy with the help of Saucy, starting this retake. In through the door, High Tech, shots are good. Picking off these players one by one, stun on the outside, Schleps gets the kill. Still struggling Longhorns. There's still 23 seconds, Jesse, in this. You don't really want to give this up. You don't want to allow Mavericks to get so close to win. They're going to be swinging this hill. Prodigy on the outside takes the fight to them and basically clears up all the problems. Shriners, he just needs to take a few more gunfights, but the damage has been done.
Oh my god, I thought Shriners was going to take that last as well, but now we need to look for this rotational battle. Neither team can win on this hill, but now hill 1, you can get a win here if you're UTA, and if you win the rotations, they absolutely do. Stridents invest the glide bomb as well, only 20 seconds away from putting it in, and they're the first team inside the monument.
First team here, first team to look to put a map inside the series. Schlepp's cutting them off. And still into the hill are these players. Prodigy, though, there's the break from Longhorns that you're looking for. 240 to 180, so it's not over just yet. Still some job to be done if you're the UTA Mavericks. You can see them grouping up at the respawns, but one by one they're in, and one by one they're dropping, Jesse. You don't want to be playing like this. I mean, you come so far to bring this back, you don't want to fumble in the last seconds.
Oh, Mickey's trying to make the play through the back. If he finds this kill, this might just flip these spawns out as well. It absolutely does. But the thing is, though, UTA can still win on this hill, so Longhorn, you need to make sure you keep a presence here and you win the rotational battle back over to columns.
4 in a row for Saucy. These streaks could be everything. Oh, Prodigy, what the heck? What was that? So now Mickey, only one closest to streaks. Strident's running right through the middle of the map. You gotta be watching out for this player. 247. Only 3 seconds left for Mavericks to find it. Strident's in the back line. Menace gonna get the kill. That's a big one. You look at the rest of the players on the Mavericks inside the mini-map. These blue arrows kind of far away, so still some job to be done if they want to break it. High Tech from behind is going to find it. Prodigy inside the hill. Mavericks, they hop on, and with 3 seconds left, they're going to be putting it away quickly.
They get the final break at the very end to close that game out. It was a 250 to 215 at the very end of that and all. But, I mean, Longhorns were right in that game. And honestly, leading, what was it, 80-0 off the start of that game,
0,
but
yeah.
a huge comeback for the Mavericks through the second set of that rotations, or even in the second half of the first set of rotations, was just a big comeback to really get us right to around a tie game at the end of the first set. I really thought that Texas had a chance. I thought that the Longhorns could have closed that one out in the last little bit, but they got broke at the very end there. And you got to think that it was very much so on the back of Strident's making that push through. He just kind of gets in the back line there, really bothers the setup of Longhorns. And not only does he bother the setups, he wins a big gunfight in the back, and it gives the spawns to the likes of UTA. And as soon as they get that spawn up in the back, they just had such close reinforcements. They were able to reinforce a little bit faster. They only needed 3 seconds to close it out, and they absolutely were able to do so.
I mean, a big question that we had, Jesse, was who's going to step up to help Prodigy, who's been their consistent slayer all year long. Stridens was that guy. They have literally identical numbers right there. I mean, maybe a couple more non-traded kills for Stridens, a little bit more damage per hill, but I mean, Stridens was the end-all be-all for Mavericks inside that Tuscan, and in the overarching story of this whole thing, you needed that map 1 victory, and now they got it. What does that mean for the rest of the series? Longhorns, they have to bounce back.
Kills were almost exactly identical from both teams as well. So slaying wasn't really the full factor there. It was just kind of whoever set up early and got it. I really felt like towards the second half of that game, it was UTA just constantly being the first team to that hill. And it was just kind of putting the Longhorns in rough spots to have to make their way in, have to break in. Nice to see Mickey bounce back towards the second half of that game as well, because he kind of had a rough start throughout the middle of that. He was decently negative. So to see him bounce back like that and come back to at least a positive KD is good for him. And can we talk about the fallout for Velo in that series or in that map? Because he was 10-2 and ended up finishing off 26-28 in that game there. He was 10-2 after the first 2 hills, Seymour.
Well, you talked about inside the series how Longhorns, they're looking for the long run. They're playing for the late game right now inside the vetoes. Well, it seemed like Arlington, the Mavericks, they just needed a little bit of time to warm up, to wake up to the series because, like you said, I mean, Velocity, strong start, but as soon as they started learning the way he played, as soon as they figured him out, they were shutting him down time and time again, and it was Stridens just being so fast on the rotations, just constantly being up in the face of those Mavericks. Always closing the door of opportunity, always shutting down the rotations that Mavericks usually were trying to fight for in the first place, which is what I like to see for them rotating early. But if you're Longhorns now, you started off so good, you fell flat on your face inside of the Tuscan. Bokar, Search and Destroy, it needs to be where you resurge.
It absolutely does. You need a big answer back here from the likes of UTA. And I mean, there's a great map to go to as well, because I mean, when you look at the Search and Destroy, it's not the greatest mode for UTA. I mean, they're 5-2, so it's not like they're bad at the mode by any means, but it's not like this is like the end-all be-all going to be their bread and butter, what they're always going to be able to come out and be able to take here. And because Search and Destroy happens to be one of their weaker modes, they've lost it 6-2, they've lost it 3-6 as well. So definitely, 6-3. So definitely a mode where the Mavericks have bled in before and a map that they bled on before. So if Longhorns can come out and they can take early advantage of that, they need to, as quickly as possible here in this series, tie this up, get themselves back into it, because like we said, the back half of the series I really do think kind of favors the Longhorns. So if they can just get there, that's the big statement, and this map is a great place to start.
It's also somewhere where I need to see the dynamic duo pop up. And when we talk so much about Mickey and Menace, and they had a very quiet game number 1, right? Whereas Velocity had a hot start, Saucy had a great finish. It was Mickey and Menace just kind of floating towards the middle. So you got to keep your eyes to see if all these players on Longhorns can heat up, get their pacing now inside map number 2. We're headed to Bokaj, folks. And I mean, you know the deal. We've been here quite a bit. We've been inside Bokaj enough to know this is going to be a Mad Max-esque type fight right now. It is bloody. It is intense. And it is never going to be straightforward on this map. So you know that we're going to be looking at players to really find their way around, get sneaky, and get creative.
We saw Bakash in our first series of the day as well, and it was all offense all defense. So the first 6 rounds, and then as soon as teams on offense started to figure out what those defenses were doing, that's when you saw some offensive wins start to come through, and it was all offense from that point on. So we'll have to see how these two teams kind of respond, because I think a bigger thing in Search and Destroy than even just looking at what maps people are playing and how people are playing in terms of roles is how teams adjust throughout these games. A-Site has been very favored so far here today in the CCL, so we'll see if either of these teams choose to even hit towards be off the start of any of these rounds. We'll have to see what they're able to do, but I honestly think this is going to be another close game, and actually a huge mid hit coming here from the Longhorns off the start. High Tech will find one, but it's just not enough, as all the rest of the players on Longhorns are able to help get this job done.
That could have been so much worse than what it was if High Tech just waited a few more seconds. Mickey tagged down to 50 on the escape. You see the two players of Mavericks on the mini-map. They've flipped the map out now, residing deep into the bell tower and inside of Barn. Schlepp's going to even us up, 2v2. Bomb yet to go down. Mickey's taking all the way to the B side. It looks like they want to take Schlepp down before they make a move, but Schlepp, he slipped the lines. And now they don't know exactly where he's going to be, and they are wasting so much time, Jesse,
Mickey saw him.
Just to get this down.
I'm pretty sure Mickey just saw him in the back here.
Now he did.
Of the Willow Tree. Yes, he did. He finds one, but he's going to get dropped from Prodigy, so a 1 versus 1 now. And it looks like they have them perfectly trapped. Saucy's going to make the flank play in from behind, but Prodigy actually gets out.
It's too little too late. Kind of wrapped around. Saucy doesn't know what to do. It's
He has no idea where he is
And
now.
the bomb, it's still down. It's still out of the count. You need to get this bomb down, or you need to take the kill. And Prodigy is in a gamble spot right now. Enough time has passed. He's going to check this. This is perfect timing at a Prodigy. That is S-class Bokash Search and Destroy from the kid.
I don't think he could have had better timing at any point in that round there for Prodigy. I mean, he slipped the line twice in terms of lines of sight that Saucy could have seen him in, and just got behind the walls both times before Saucy could get him. And then as soon as Saucy finally goes to plant that bomb, that's when you saw him pop off at the start there. Mickey, this was a good map that we saw from him last week when we were watching some collegiate COD. So this is a map where I absolutely expect to see him playing at his best, already starting off 3-1, but not able to get the job done there in round number 1. Like you said, UTA was able to close that out, and now on their offense, they're going to hit right in towards A, a little bit more of a conventional first round hit that we see from some of these teams. But Mikey, again, him and Menace find first blood.
High Tech finds the trade. Bomb now has to exit. Schlepp's going to double down onto Saucy. So numbers down to Mavericks. Bomb's going to go down. There's a quick nade check from Mickey. Doesn't hit. Around the outside, though. Takes the kill. 2v1. Bomb down. Strident last alive. The hero of Tuscan. Can he walk out on top? Pinched between both players. But in a great spot now to wrap this around. Spots Velocity from behind. Playing this so patiently. Knows time's on his side. And now he strikes 1v1. On the outside, Mickey takes the fight to him. And he's going to shut down Schlepp before, or Strident before anything weird can go on after that.
It's a beautiful way to close that round out for Mickey as well. He finds 2 in a row again here in this game. And we were talking about it. This player is the player inside the Search and Destroy. The M&M combo, we saw it last week. We're seeing it again here, Colin. Mickey showing up in the Search and Destroy. As soon as his teammate falls, he's right there for the trade. They played that 2v1 to a T, and they're going to be able to tie us up at 1-1 here, heading in towards our 3rd round. And we'll have to see if they decide to make any differences on offense. The last time through on offense, it was just a hit right through the middle of the map, and it worked off the rip, but eventually they just lost the numbers, and they weren't able to have as dominant of a hit. Mickey pulling out an automaton makes me think that this hit towards A is going to be much, much slower of a hit.
It's not the case whatsoever. Menace is flying. Saucy goes down to Prodigy. Another first blood to the Mavericks. Menace is looking like he's pulling this out, but look at Prodigy just laying prone now, waiting for this attack to come through. If you look at the mini-map, you see player number 4 taking a wide swing into this, but Menace walks, not expecting Prodigy. Trade comes through from Velocity, but it's just back and forth. Mickey, now the last player alive, in the back line, gets spotted by Strident, and High Tech's going to get the call to push out and shut it down.
I feel like if you wanted one player alive in that situation, it would have been Mickey right now with how he's shooting in this Search and Destroy, but not able to get the job done. And yeah, that bomb was just down in a not so great spot. So as soon as that bomb goes down there, that's when you know. And you can even see the stun came in at the end there. So Mickey was just dead at all rights in that round, and just unfortunately not able to close things out for his boys. But you know what? It's something that we've seen a lot here on this map. Defense really does reign supreme on Bacage, especially in the early rounds. We've seen it in the last series. We're seeing it again here. That's 3 straight defenses to start things off. And we'll see if UTA can make an adjustment on offense, but not looking like it's going to be much different. It's going to be another hit right in through Grandma's, but Saucy and Mickey combine for 2, make that 3, and they completely stifle that push. And now Schlepp, he's wondering what happened to his team.
It's a hard day out here if you're attacking Bokash. I mean, it just seems so
really
difficult. Like, what more do you need to do on these teams? I mean, you saw Longhorn, they got the bomb down at one point. Mavericks, they've gotten into the side, they got the bomb down too, but I mean, defense is just where all the rave is at these days, guys. It's what the cool kids do.
It's just because you have such an advantage being able to sit inside the site, right? Being able to just watch and hold angles. And it's exactly what they do on defense here. I think if you're on offense and you want to be able to win one of these rounds, I think you just need to either four-man hit one time in through the front like we kind of saw from Longhorns do in the first round, or just make a play towards B. Like, yes, you'll have one player set up there for whatever team on defense, but usually it's a 3-1 split, and you can solo that player out and really kind of take that gunfight and put them in a rough spot, but it doesn't look like we're going to see a different hit coming in here. Once again, both teams still preferring this A site, and Velocities, he'll be the first player here, and they get the first blood, so Longhorns are in a great spot now to try to get this bomb down today.
And that's not just any first blood. That's Prodigy going down, who found 2 kills last time they were on defense. So that's going to make it even harder to retake the site, not having Prodigy there to front line. And a bomb down time against him. Saucy's making the play on the outside, so 2 players down for Mavericks. Saucy may have just found the route on in to shut down the Mavericks and lead Longhorns into their first attacking win. Stridents against the world is going to find the first down, but if you look at the positioning of Longhorns, you look where player 4 is. He's going to take the first fight. And if he doesn't get it, player number 3 is out there to finish it off. But as soon as you look at Velocity, you're going to be looking at the next round.
And you only had 10 seconds left to close that round out as well. It just was not a good spot to be in for the players. And unfortunately, they don't get the job done. And there we go, though, Colin. We get an offensive round win. It was a big first blood from Velocities on the outside that really just opened that whole side up for them to get that bomb down. And then once the bomb went down, that's when the defense really becomes kind of in the same advantage that you get as the offense off the start of that rip. Or sorry, the opposite way around. That's when the offense gets that advantage of being able to sit in the corners, hold down the lanes, and the defense really has to make their own push at that point, and they just weren't able to break back into the site there. And now UTA, they're going to try to make a play, very similar play actually, through the outside of the A site down towards this tank side of the map, and they find first blood, but they do not have as much map pressure over towards A as what we saw from the likes of Longhorns in that last round.
I mean, this game is so close, Jesse. It's who's going to come online between Menace and Schlepp, it seems like. Schlepp was 2-5 before this, finds first blood, so it's a good start for the Mavericks. But if Menace starts heating up, I mean, Longhorns could find their way into a deadly advantage here. Look how passive Mavericks are playing. I mean, what's the play call here? What do they even want to do? I'm not seeing any ideas.
I don't know. You get first blood, and you just basically back up, but you can see Velocity's just seen them all cross towards that left-hand side, so he knows he might get overwhelmed here. So he's just going to back up, make the play call as well to his boys. So now the Longhorn guys can actually start to make the rotation over as well. But could this just be a bait from UTA? Might they just go back over to A?
I mean, Longhorns, they got impatient. They take the fight. Menace to go down. Prodigy now, the chance to get this bomb down. Velocity has to turn off. Has a little bit of help from Saucy, so 2v3. Saucy's on 5 in a row, so Glide Bomb now acquired for this squad. Velocity doesn't see the player in the back. Prodigy down and dirty inside of this. Gets out through tunnels, so even more places to just look. Saucy finds better. Stridents 2v2 into this strafing run as well, acquired for Longhorns. But if you look at the mini-map, there's another wraparound. Player number 6, Prodigy, makes the way around, finds Velocity in the back, leaving Saucy less alive with 19 seconds to make a play. Not a whole lot you can do right now if you're Saucy, especially when you don't check your corners. So Longhorns, they find an attacking round, and the Mavericks, they do exactly the same.
And the issue there for Velocities and Saucy is it was looking oh so good. Both players completely looking like they were ready to go. But what ends up happening there is they flip the map out on Velocity and Saucy, so they just really didn't know where to look at that point. And once they realized, hey, our spawn has been completely taken over by these UTA players, it was just a little bit too late. So after back-to-back defenses, we get a back-to-back offensive wins here. So these teams really keeping it even. But Saucy now having these streaks, this opens up so much possibility and so much potential for hitting the B side, and that's exactly where you're seeing Longhorns go with the bomb.
Streak 1 called out. Whoa, look at that. Look, it's scrambling. Strident's like, oh, no, no, no.
Oh, he got one.
And he drops the hammer right on his noggin. First blood off the glide bomb. Bomb going down. What do you do if you're a Maverick?
I mean, you got to play together here to play for this retake. You don't have streaks, and you also have to worry about that streak that they still have as well. Even if this gets to the late portions, they can just drop it on in. And Saucy and Menace fighting too, so you're just not in a great spot now. Prodigy 1 versus 4 will have to be for the win, and just not able to get the job done there. Longhorns, beautiful use of execution from dropping that streak onto the hill, completely pushing them all off site, and then getting that bomb down. And I mean, finding one with that streak just helps even that much more.
You can see how close these teams are in skill, Jesse, and why this is a fight for third place out of 4 squads, not even just these 2. When you said it, who's going to come alive, Schlepp or Menace? Well, Menace right there, a big shutdown through the middle of the map to allow Longhorns to keep that numbers advantage. So it's just the little things out of these two players that I'm looking at to bring this one alive. Prodigy heading over to the A site. We're looking at a bomb attack early, but Mavericks last time, they were very slow off this first blood. Let's see if they fly.
Yeah, it's a good question because, like you said, they got the first blood down, and then there was a full wrap out, and they went over towards the B site instead of hitting in towards A. It'd be interested to see if they do it again here, because it is just very, very slow. But this time, I think they might just be trying to force the wrap. It's looking like a bait play here. Menace will. He can't find the one. So this should give the information to the rest of his teammates, though, to be like, hey, no, they are not wrapping B. They're still over here at A.
Man, it's just things you hate to see from Menace. I mean, he had such a good kill in the last game to open up the map now. Absolutely worked from Prodigy. Look at Mickey running through the map undetected. Oh. He spots him. Shrined. Even Steven. We go. Inside this round. Yeah, look at player number 4. They're not expecting it, but High-Tech snaps. See you later, Velocity. Let's get this bomb down.
Oh, and Mikey gets caught out through middle of the map as well to close that round out. And that's back-to-back offensive now for UTA, where they hit towards one site, they get first blood, and then as soon as they get first blood, they completely back up, don't hit towards anywhere, and then just completely throw off their opponents. They're really keeping this Longhorns team guessing right now on offense. And I mean, Colin, we got what, 4 rounds of defense in a row, followed by 4 rounds of offense in a row. Like,
I don't even know.
We really just don't know what to expect from these teams right now. It really kind of feels like whoever gets that first blood is winning a lot of these rounds out right now, though.
It's just a tug of war right now. Bokash, who's going to get that first one? Mickey looking to take it out, but a schlep again. Finding that first blood on 3 in a row for Mavericks. Shrinans doubles down around the outside. So now number is out of the hands of Longhorns by a mile. Menace pulls us back a little bit. Mickey's still fishing for that. Makes a little bit of noise. High-Tech's like, no, I'm not letting that slide. You shot early. You're going down. So Menace now last alive in a 1v3. Plenty of time in. He's going to find Schlep from behind. So 1v2 might be possible if he can take down High-Tech in the corner.
They really isolates that first gunfight too, though. So not even a chance for a trade right now. But you do get that information if you're UTA. You know where this player is. If he drops somewhere too from the outside of one of these windows, you'll probably hear that sound cue come in. Unless he pops that dead silence, you definitely just heard him break that door. So you know he's still in and around this site. And High-Tech, he is not giving up his corner right now inside of this grandma's, inside of this A site.
He didn't see him.
He checks, but he didn't see him. Menace closes the round out. Mavericks on map point.
You heard of Alpha on the Shelf? Well, you don't expect High-Tech in the corner right there. Doesn't even rhyme. I tried.
I thought you were going to get something way more creative there.
Yeah, I tried.
I'm disappointed in you for that one.
I tried. It's hard out here. It's a hard world, but I mean, High-Tech, patient, you said he did not move from that corner. It was his corner, and he owned it.
I don't even know what you could rhyme with High-Tech. I'm just like, I'm just trying. I'm sitting here and I'm trying to think of one too now, and I absolutely can't. But you know what? Rhyming, it's not our strong suit. Casting Call of Duty, that's what we do best. And now heading over to B, it's going to be the UTA Mavericks. And I mean, we've seen this hit work for them once before, but it was when there was streaks involved here for the likes of the Longhorn. Sorry, it was them who had the better hit over here. And a 3v3 off the rip. Saucy has a streak to help break this site as well.
You're looking at that Schreifer run, not to go down, but Saucy, he wants to take the gunfight. Shrine, it's caught sliding. Now 3v1, Prodigy last alive, looking to take the gunfight right to Saucy, but from the top of the stairs, we're headed to a round 11, guys.
All right, I'm trying to do quick maths right now. I think there's 31 kills here for Longhorns. So with 31 kills, I don't see as many on the side of the Mavericks looking at these quick maths. So Longhorn, they should be on defense here for this final round, but I don't even know if that's an advantage going into this one because it was 4 defenses in a row. We've now seen 6 offenses, 1 straight here. Actually, that was finally a defensive round 1 there as well. So you know what? Just completely ignore the color caster here. I'm apparently absolutely losing my mind, but Longhorns, they do get that defense. See what Mavericks try to do. I think their most successful hits for Mavericks on offense so far have been hitting towards A, finding that first blood, and then wrapping out and really just playing off the backs of each other.
This first blood, it's going to be everything.
Look how passive the Longhorns are playing here in this round, too. They don't want to give that first blood up.
It's a game of chess. I mean, that's all Bokash really is at some point. Who's going to make the first move and who's going to make the first mistake?
This might be the slowest round of Bocage I've ever seen. Both teams not wanting to give an inch here inside of this round. Who will be the first player to blink? Who will be the first player to move up on the map? You're seeing basically 3 players inside and around Barn for the Mavericks. You got 1 player out in Tanks, and then the rest of the players for Longhorns all just sitting inside and around Grandma's. 1 player at the Dovecot Tower. nobody making a move. Finally, we see Prodigy move up with this bomb, but nothing coming through yet for either team.
Ever so slightly, you know, just cheeky up to the corner. High Tech to break this one in, maybe. But look at the media map. Look at player number 2, Menace. Wants to make a wrap on the outside. So now on the inside of this hill, 30 seconds to make this move. Shots ringing out from either side. Still nobody dead. I can't believe it. Bomb hasn't gone down, but Saucy around the outside might just be that Menace. Finds Shrinens. Velocity to take him down. It's 3 wipe right off the rip. Longhorns looking to tie up the series. Shep, last one alive, but Menace says no. I said, who needs to turn up? It's either Menace or Schlep. And Menace puts them in the dirt in round 11.
And as soon as they get that information, that tiny bit of information on where that bomb is going, as soon as they heard them break through that door, you saw the entire pinch from the Longhorns develop in that round. 3 players from all and around the site pinch in, they get inside, and they just find every single kill. I don't even think they lost anybody in that round 11, and it's exactly how you have to play that round 11 as the University of Texas at Austin. As the Longhorns, you need to wait for them to make the first move there. You don't want to get too aggressive. You don't want to throw your life away. You saw that happen multiple times throughout that game. I believe it was in the middle rounds of the game where you saw the Mavericks start to pick up a few offenses. They found one kill over towards that A site, then just wrapped the bomb. It was that first blood that was winning so many of these rounds throughout that game. At that round, University of Texas at Austin, they did not want to give that first blood up, and they were able to kill and able to take that game away.
I mean, you had such a good start to the series for so many players. Then to the later end, I mean, you look at Shridens, who is the man of the hour inside that Tuscan hardpoint. 4 and 10, just numbers that you're going to struggle with in the late game if you're the Mavericks. Schlep, I really called him out for the Mavericks early. He was, what, 2 and 5 at one point, 7 and 9, ended this out, finding a ton of first bloods towards the late end of the game, helping Mavericks to do it. But when you look at the Longhorns, the team who now tie us up in the series and send us a distance, Saucy, 11 and 6, Mickey, 11 and 6, and I put a big weight on Menace's shoulders to make the job, or get the job done throughout the series. And Menace really turned up in the late game.
Yeah, the thing with this Longhorn team, and what me and you were kind of talking about going into this one was, yeah, we know Mickey and Menace are both very good, but then when you look at velocity stats from last season, the man's insane. We were expecting a lot of these players to be very strong players. And I really look at this team and I see any one of these players at any point in time can pop off. And that wasn't something I was really kind of noticing when we watched them play last week and when we seen them off the start of this. But it's really starting to feel like that now, watching how even strength this team is all the way from top to bottom. But the big thing for this team is who on this team is really going to step up when it comes to the respawns. Because we see them get it done in the S&D, but the respawns is where it was looking a little bit weak in that first map.
It's definitely going to be now tied 1 apiece. We're going to head to a break, and when we come back, it's going to be Tuscan Control that we're looking at, folks. So we're going to take a little break. I'm going to Google what rhymes with high tech, and when we come back, we're going to see Control on Tuscan. We'll be right back with some more CCL. Folks, welcome back to the CCL Bravo stream. I got good news and I got bad news. The good news is we're heading into Tuscan map number 3, and both these teams are neck and neck. The bad news is I couldn't find anything that rhymes with high tech, so we're going to just put that away, forget about that. And
wait, you got to put the challenge out there first.
No, we're just
no. Okay, I'll put the challenge out there then. Seymour said that if you guys can figure out a rhyme that goes with high tech, he's going to take one of you guys out on a date. So tweet at him.
True.
He needs a Valentine's date, apparently. So
I did say that.
I don't think his girlfriend will be too happy about it, but
whoa.
You know, hey, we'll see what happens. You know,
Tuscan Control. How about that? Let's take a look at the series. Let's take a look back at what we got so far, because it has been neck and neck, Jesse, in both of them. I mean, that hard point, 80-0 for Longhorns. They kind of dropped the ball. They had such a strong opening, and then, I mean, Mavericks, they came back swinging. They bring themselves back, and they take that map number 1. Now, it wasn't anything different in the search and destroy. It was back-to-back rounds, whether it was on defense or on attack. Whoever was finding the pattern just laid true. And around 11, to bring us to where we are now, Tuscan Control.
You know what I really like that you brought up there is the fact that we saw a huge break off towards this A site in hardpoint because it's the first hill on hardpoint. So maybe this could end up leading towards a good amount of success here for Longhorns, but actually Longhorns choosing to completely go against the grain. They're going to hit out towards B right off the rip. They take complete control middle map, and now they can head over towards this B site, and they're actually going to stack both sites, put a player on A, and get the rest of the 3 players in and around this B site and stack the zone.
Velocity in the back. flips the spawns out. It's a full 4 down. Longhorns, they're ready to put this B site away. And they got 2 players to stack it as well. Still kills ringing through. Saucy on 4 in a row. Let me let you know. Velocity is going to take down no, that was going to take down Slep. Slep's going to slip into the back tank. B site gets captured. Made it onto this clock. Mavericks, they got to pull themselves back into this.
Yeah, they do, and you can see their plan was just give up B at this point. We need to just full play for this A site, and now the rest of the Longhorns, it actually looks like they want to make a play in through the Mavericks spawn here. They've got the big life lead, and that's exactly what they're going to do. They make the play through the front. They can now rotate, get onto this monument zone, and Menace has a streak as well. So with 2 ticks of progress here and nobody in and around this hill for the UTA Mavericks, I mean, this one's probably done here.
What a round 1 of the Longhorns. Like, that is the exact same start that we got at the hard point from Longhorn. I mean, it was flawless. It was absolutely perfect at that B-side hit. Yeah, you lose a couple players, but you had 2 minutes and 13 seconds after capping the B-site. That is unheard of.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching that, and it was kind of like what we were alluding to, though, was that we were excited for this map for the Longhorns simply because we saw them hit out towards a inside of that hard point. It was such a clean break-off. Well, they did the exact same thing here in control, but you know what? It is what it is. They got the job done. Now we need to look for the Mavericks on their offense this time through for themselves. And I mean, not as good of a break-off. Again, this Longhorns break-off towards this A side of the map has just been so dominant.
As it asks Mickey, 3 in a row there. Caught reloading, still finds a 4th. High tech, you can't let that happen. And it's a Menace stun to take him down before he can find Shrakes. Over at the A site, 1 tick. Stridents. We're going to stop the clock. No, push into the spawn of Longhorn. See if they can spawn them up here. Menace going to drop the Shriek on out. Clear the B site before Tick can get captured and floods the rest of the Mavericks players into the gunfights.
And Longhorns, they know exactly what they need to do right now. They keep this UTA team kind of pinned in the back, and now you can just keep shutting this down. Velocities does not know that there's a player there, though. So Stridents, he's now in that annoying position where you can start to spawn these Longhorn players out and get them into a rough spot to be able to cap this B site.
Saucy has been unstoppable. 7-1, right alongside Menace, who's 7-1 as well. Contention into the B site. Mickey comes for the help, and it's another 4 down for the Mavericks. Now off the respawn. Saucy's not going to check the corner. Prodigy's going to be the one to be close and personal towards B. But a tick at A and a tick at B, it's just not enough. You need to push this clock farther. You need to capture one of these sites, and that's a good start taking out Menace and behind.
And they shut down the last player pushing over to B as well. So now they know that all these players, they've got that B site clear. They can now put full focus back over to A. And you've only got 30 seconds left here for UTA and only 13 lives remaining as well. And you've got no map pressure at all. This is a fantastic setup for Longhorns. They could very easily put this away here.
Saucy, 4 in a row again. Can you finish the jump? No, it's a punch at the air. And Shrinance is able to recover enough to shut him down. 16 seconds left. You haven't capped the site just yet. Longhorns are unstoppable. Inside Tuscan control on both sides right now for their defense. High Tech around the corner gets the better of Menace from above. A site is getting captured with 11.2 seconds left. They need to fend off these last remaining Longhorn players, capture this site, and they need it to be clean, and it's just not clean enough. A break back in from Longhorns. They're looking to keep this flawless so far inside this defending zone. Around the corner, Menace looks like he's going to take him down. Prodigy's still here. 5 seconds left for them to get into this, Jesse. And this is just looking so dire. 4 lives left for Mavericks. They just, even if they find this, they don't have enough.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, was even if you get this last little bit here, you don't have enough lives to be able to win this round. You've got a 6-life lead still for the Longhorns. You do finally finish and cap that A side off, but from behind, Mickey tries to make the play. He doesn't, so you know what? That's another number that they've been able to diminish here. The problem is you got 60 seconds. You're only down 4 lives, but you got to find a way to get on the B, and it is the hardest site in this game to be able to break.
There is just... You need to play some level of Call of Duty that not a lot of people can do to make this happen. 2v6, 36 seconds left, Jesse.
And look what Longhorns are doing. They're literally just sitting back and just waiting for Mavericks to come to them, and it's exactly what they need to do. You just sit back here, you wait for this team to push. Just, you can't get too complacent, though. That's the only thing.
Here they come. for the attack. Shots ring out. Nah, that's going to be information to the Longhorns players to just disengage and wait for them to come out. Velocity's going to find Prodigy. Strident's last alive. Longhorns, they're going up 2-0 right now into the control.
Tuscan, man, it has looked very good for the Longhorns off these breaks, and I'm kind of gonna pay attention here in this round, like a little bit more attention than just seeing them come out and be able to break it, because their team has just been so dominant off the start of each one of these rounds. Doesn't even seem to matter what side of the map they're spawning on. This A zone has just been their playground so far here. They were able to break through middle of the map last time, instantly hit out towards B and get 2 ticks of progress there, but this time it's going to be more of an A hit as you get 3 players hitting over, and you get nothing from UTA here in this round. I think the play from UTA here is to just give up A, it feels like, and just completely play for a B hold.
They looked scared. They didn't know whether it was going to be B or they're going to be looking at the A site to defend, so up to chance. Now it's time to attack. Mickey tanked up down to 76, still finds Strident, wraps around to you. Another player down low, the slide on in. It's just not good enough. He's dancing.
Oh, no.
It's hardcore parkour. And the Mavericks, they just can't keep up.
Oh, no. I really thought that the Mavericks were making a smart play there and just saying, hey, you know what? Let's just give up this A site, play for a full kind of B zone setup. Instead, they decide, hey, you know what? Let's actually hit this instead. They do get a 4-man wipe, though, now. That is huge. It is going to give them so much more map control. They can push out and really stabilize now on this B hit.
So, I've seen great teams fall with more in their hands than this. So, this is still a chance for Mavericks to put a point on the board in control. Minute 53, 22-22. They've diminished the life deficit that they had. Mickey's getting spotted out. Strident, I don't know why he turned away there, but an opening now for Longhorns to attack this B site. You're going to need High Tech to go big in the middle of the map and shut down these rotations, and he's going to find Menace, so job well done. The rest of Longhorns trying to make something out of nothing to this B site with a player down. It's just not what you want to do.
Problem is for Longhorns here is you need to make 2 solid hits at this. You basically need a full man wipe and then to push out the spawn so you can basically shut down any little bit of an extra push you get after. Mickey is the only player pushed forward right now. He does find one. He is on 3 in a row, but he's going to get shot down as well. So life lead still even between these 2 teams, but the big difference now is a minute has been shaved off this clock and Longhorns have not gotten anywhere near this B site yet.
So far, so good for UTA. Velocity throwing shoulders, getting the information for the team. Clock stopped at 58. Strident's from behind. Can really spoil the fun right now, and it's just open season on the inside. Finds 2. It's a trade for 3, so better for the Longhorns, but now with only 2 players alive, you need these 2 to go absolutely insane on the inside. B-side's gonna get 1 tick gone, and you look at this play for the Mavericks. They're going to make the overextension, and it's going to cost them another 3 down. Time is going, and Mavericks, they are just not finding the way back into this. A dagger in the side, and it just keeps getting pushed farther and farther into the Longhorns' 3-0 control with another attacking win.
Wow. I mean, the Longhorns on this map mode combination. This might just be the bread and butter, Colin, for this team, because I mean, the way they just came out and they played that whole map was just absolutely unreal. And even that last round, it was a very close last round. The lives were, what, 17-17 at a point? And then they finally capped A. And then as soon as they got that A site, they said, hey, you know what? We can absolutely finish this off. Let's push out, get into the new zone, and close this game out. Beautiful stuff from them there. And just take a look at this as well. This final set of stats coming through. And I mean, the stats don't even tell the full story here because, like, yeah, you were outslayed if you were UTA, but you absolutely could have taken that second round for yourself there. It was really round number 1 that just was just pure domination from the likes of the Longhorns.
You could have taken the second round. You could have taken the 3rd round. I mean, I don't think it's so much that Longhorns, and don't get me wrong, Longhorns were playing a fantastic control, but Mavericks, it just seems like they didn't have an idea to retake those sites both times on the defense, and Longhorns are just picking them off, winning their ones, and just ultimately shutting out and boxing out Mavericks' idea of what was a really late game overextension through the middle of the map to try to pinch to retake the B site. But I think they were trying to think 3 steps ahead and 3 steps way too far ahead.
Yeah, they really were. I mean, it just kind of felt like they weren't on the same page as well, if you will, kind of in that control. It just kind of felt like everybody was taking little individual challenges. It was one time, I think, I saw them get a 4-man down, And it was in that last round, actually, when they decided to all push out and they all got into their positions, but nobody played off of each other. It was all little individual gunfights, and they gave up all that map control right back to the likes of the Longhorns, and that's really what ends up losing them that map there. And I mean, I'm really excited for this Longhorn team now, because we said they need to get to the second half of this series. I didn't think they were going to be in a 2-1 lead going into the second half of the series.
I did not expect it either. I mean, you said it yourself that I think the Mavericks now are in a really good spot, being that Bokash hardpoint comes up next. Because when you look at the Mavericks, they don't have a good history inside this map. Unfortunately, it looks like it's one of their lesser maps that you want to go to. And the fact that you were calling it that Mavericks, they needed to win early because the late game is just so strong in the veto system towards the Longhorns. I mean, Bokash hardpoint is just not what you need after what just happened on that Tuscan control.
It's really not, and it's going to be super quick pace, and that might just be what kind of hurts the Mavericks here, because there's a lot of slaying power on this Longhorn team. If they can put it together inside of a Bokash hardpoint, they absolutely can take this map. And like you said, this is not one of the stronger maps for the Mavericks either. They only have 3 losses in hardpoint on the season. 2 out of the 3 of them coming from this map mode combination here. So definitely need to find a way to pull it out for this Bokash if they want to be able to come back and take this series. And then what's our final map if we do go the full distance? It's Tuscan again. So
remember the big map.
Yeah, that scares me. Thank you. That makes it so much easier to just remember that it's a Big Mac sandwich of Tuscan and Bokash. But yeah, that scares me too if we go to Tuscan in the final map, because it just kind of feels like the Longhorns on that A side of the map have just been so dominant over the Mavericks. And what side is the favorite site inside of Search and Destroy? It is that A side as well. So Mavericks, I mean, they're either they need to not only come out and win a Bokash hardpoint, which has been a weaker map, but also come and now take a Search and Destroy on Tuscan, which has just not seemed to be their stronger map here today against the likes of this Longhorn team.
I mean, if we could get a second and look back at the series and look back at the maps that we did go through, it's kind of telling that I get a little bit of hope for the Mavericks, Jesse, because back at that hard point, they were down by a lot, but you saw some key individuals really heat up to bring that win on Tuscan hardpoint. And the Search and Destroy, that could have gone any way. I mean, that went to a round 11, and you hear from a lot of players, it's just round 11, who gets that first blood? Who expands on that first blood? And you saw Menace really turn up. So that last round could have gone either way if the Mavericks showed up in it. It could have totally been 2-0 going into that control, but now you don't win that round 11. You get smoked inside of that control. Bokash needs to be where you come back to life. They were slow in the first hardpoint. Let's see if they can kind of flip the script and start off in the way that they ended that Tuscan hardpoint.
I couldn't agree more. This needs to be a big answer back from Mavericks. They need to take another hard point here, and then a Search and Destroy if they want to be able to take this series. And honestly, if they really want to stay in contention for third place here, because you get another loss after how many losses you have already gotten to those top teams, it puts you in a very, very rough spot here, especially with the fact that not only do the Mavericks have to win this map or win this match if they want to stay in that top 3 spot, but they also have to go up against SEU later on this week as well. So that is going to be another tough match. This is a must-win map.
Saucy in the shed. I mean, hill number 1, you're going to most likely see it.
It's a blunder.
Very contested from either team. So I'm not expecting too much early from this. I'm looking at Mavericks and how they're going to break these spawns, because you saw a couple players try to make those overextensions, but it just hasn't worked. So you want to soak up as much time as you can into this first hill. You haven't flipped them out, and they're doing just that, but you haven't been able to take these players down from Longhorn, and that is going to punish you into the rotation.
Oh, it absolutely is. Look at these Mavericks. They really can't get anywhere near this new hill yet. So I think a big part of this is going to be on player number 5. He needs to go huge, but he gets dropped immediately from Saucy. And now Saucy can make the overextension through middle of the map and try to pinch the rest of these UTA players out. Not able to get the job done, and actually UTA now able to contest from the front.
Stridents, big kill on the Menace. Clears the hill and allows Mavericks on in. Nullifying the points that Longhorns were collecting. Velocity trying to make the overextension play. It's a set nade from Mickey to open it up. And now Longhorns hopping into this hill. Spawns for the Mavericks in the back line. They are going to have a pinch into these players in Longhorns who are kind of turtled on the inside. Mickey trying to stay alive inside that barn. It's Saucy to come to the rescue, and Menace to win a big win on the outside. So Longhorn, Mavericks, they're keeping them both out of this hill just yet. Not a lot of time on the second hill, Jesse. I mean, you talk about money hills, you don't get that very often inside Bokash, and both these teams, they don't want to give anything to each other.
No, you don't. But a good start to this game, though, for UTA. You're up 15 after the first two. And now you're looking at Grandma's. You do have the early hill, and you actually get the spawns as well. So if you can now find a way to break this from the front and hold these spawns, this could end up turning into a big money hole for the UTA Mavericks.
Raji in. And he clears it so fast. On the outside, Velocity set up for success. But the break from Mavericks so early keeps Longhorns out of this hill. And with the better spawns, Mavericks are looking to pave their way into that success factor that they got so early. High Tech over the shoulder is going to take it out. Longhorns right now on the inside. You see another break forming from the Mavericks into the contention from the side door. Schlepp clears the hill, but look at the answer back. It's 3 down. Make it 4 so easy.
And now they can actually play this from the front as well. UTA is still spawning up on that right-hand side, but UTA, they're trying to make the overextension immediately through the top and the bottom side of the map. They don't even want to take another hit at this because they know they need to get these spawns for the Barn Hill.
With a fight for the back. I think Velocity knows as well. He smells something's brewing in the back line. It's going to be a big fight. Gets a little bit ugly. Velocity kid. No, he didn't. I thought Velocity got, but Schlepp with the sidearm gets the job done. That's going to be a big start for Mavericks into this hill, Jesse.
It's probably the first time we've seen a rotation get one from the Mavericks that they did not come out on top in terms of points in that last hill when Longhorns was really able to take the majority of those points there. So looking for a bigger answer here. Velocities again tries to hit the back. Schlepp's to take 2. It's going to be the same exact outcome as he finds the kill once again. And these spawns are just absolutely now in control of the Mavericks. They know that there's nobody sneaking through.
Oh, it's without a doubt right now. Contention on the inch. Stridus knows he's side to side with the player. Velocity for the trade, but out on top comes the Mavericks. They flip the spawns as well, Jesse. So fighting from the back, Longhorns trying to get back into this. Prodigy hits the deck, gets the glide bomb before he goes down. Neck and neck. It's going to be a 10-point lead after this. Menace knows he needs to make a play.
That glide bomb could be huge, though. That's you can't underestimate how big getting that 5 spree and being able to find that glide bomb is. Because now heading towards this hill and not having the early rotation towards it anymore, this is when you're going to see this in. Oh no, I was going to say it gets invested. But your player in the back ends up finding that kill, so not only does it give away his life, but now you don't even find any value out of the streak. Nobody follows it up, and you're just going to fall apart at the seams here. If you're UTA, you might be able to get these top spawns. No, you don't. You end up falling. This is a beautiful break from Longhorns, and they force out the streak from UTA.
And they scatter. They surround Mavericks, and now they're back into the hill like they never left. 30 seconds into it, Menace gets another glide bomb for Longhorn this time. So now Utility to Longhorn Gaming. To push this lead even farther, can you get that strafing run? You are being chased right now, and Menace has no idea. Player number 8 right behind High Tech is going to put that streak into the dirt. Eclipsing 100 points. You said it. I mean, it was a good start for the Mavericks, but Longhorns, they have dialed it up right now.
Let's see what the Longhorns can do here. But the rotation now back to P1. It's going to be, what, around a 44-point lead for the Longhorns here as you head back into our second set of rotations. And this was probably one of the better hills for the Mavericks off the start. What, they got 20 of their 50 seconds here on P1 in the last set of rotations. But so far, so good for Longhorns. They hold on to the good side spawns, and they're doing a great job of just keeping UTA out of this hill for the time being.
Well, Menace knows he can make it work. And he does 3 in a row. For himself, spots out the 4th. Velocity comes to help. Still 31 seconds here, and they are trapping Mavericks. And Mavericks, they just cannot find any kill whatsoever.
Wow.
Menace is on 4 now. He's going to double up on these strays before he even gets the chance to use this glide bomb. I don't even think there's going to be an opportunity to use it right now, so just has to get the job done on the inside. The hill gets broken. Is getting High Tech to make it happen, and no, Menace, before you get that 5th kill, I mean, you still have a glide bomb, so it doesn't matter, and a lot of damage onto Mavericks in this first hill. And
you
look
don't
how far they're
normally
still
see
spawning.
So much time come from that hill. But, I mean, Longhorns throughout that, they basically just stopped UTA from touching at all there. And the big thing that kind of comes from that hill for me, and what really stands out, is UTA wasn't even able to get close that hill until the last 10 seconds, in which point they have to win the rotations. And being able to win this rotation in itself is a huge accomplishment, because now this is where you need to answer back with a big hold to come back into this game here for UTA.
Prodigy, he knows he needs his teammates to go big around the outside of this hill, because Longhorns, again, they have them surrounded. Mickey from the inside, Velocity from behind. The damage now is ensuing, and just Mavericks, they just couldn't hang with it. So again, Longhorns, same play. They surround them. They get them out of that hill, and now they're collecting the time. You're going to need some players for Mavericks to try to pull this back. Schlepp from the deep end. He's going to throw some shots down range. Mickey from above takes down Shryden. So back into the hill, 11 seconds. We're looking at Grandma's next.
Still double the points here for Longhorns. And this was a good hill for them in the last set of rotations too. It took them 20 seconds, but once they broke in, they held it from the front and really pinned UTA in the back, and that's where they took their lead for the first time here in this game. Well, this time it's looking much different. They're coming in with a much bigger lead, and talking about looking much different, UTA answer with a huge hole to start this hill off.
Ginormous. I mean, this is the break that I needed from them. You need them to start slaying out, and that's what Bocage is all about. So here comes the second break from the Longhorns, right through the inside. Prodigy gets the worst timing ever, but he comes to the rescue. Good for one. Now the teammates, they can thrive from behind. Shryden isn't going to get the kill into Mickey, so Longhorns, they are going to survive on the inside of this hill by the terms of Mickey right now. And you're looking at the break back for Mavericks through Schlepper on the outside. Straight from Shryden, who takes down 2. And they're going to eclipse 100 points off this Grandma's Hill.
Maybe it was bad timing. I thought Prodigy was just kind of holding his fire to not shoot at those players, call it out. But it very well could have been bad timing because they really didn't make anything work off of that. So like that call from you, Colin. It's a little bit of rough timing there for them. But UTA, again, they should be the first team on the rotation towards this hill. But how many times are we going to say that before they actually get a hold here from one of these hills?
You need to start rotating if you're the Mavericks and getting into these power positions that are limited to Bocage. You see? Longhorns again setting up for the same attack that we see them constantly do, surrounding the Mavericks. Mickey opens it up. He finds 2. Around the outside here, they strike. Longhorns, they find all the picks that they need, and they clear this hill like it was theirs to begin with.
Very dominant again from the Mavericks, or sorry, from Longhorn in that break opportunity there. But Mavericks are slowly starting to bring their way back into this game, but you need to contest these back 20. If you let them get this for free, it's going to basically put Longhorn at 200 points, and that is a spot where you just do not want any team on Bocage to be that close to being able to close it out. We head towards our next hill as well, Colin, and there are still streaks on the side of the Longhorns here. They still have a glide bomb if they need to invest it here on this P5 hill. And we saw UTA the last time through. They were not able to get near this hill as soon as Longhorns got that setup going for themselves.
I'm pretty sure you still have streaks if you Longhorns to work with. It's a big break from Mavericks. Full 3 down around the back. It's Mickey to try to make a play. Now they know exactly where he is. Spawns come through. So Mickey gifts Longhorns right now with the better spawns. But Shryden turns up around the outside with 2. Mickey's on 5 in a row. So glide bomb acquired for Longhorn Gaming. 142 to 184. Finally the break comes through. And still, it's a 40-point lead, so no sweat right now on Bocage if you're Longhorn Gaming.
They don't even need to invest the glide bomb either. You got Eminem popping off. Mickey's on 8 in a row. He's got full streaks. You mask that 200-point marker. Not just yet it's going to get contested, but you're right in around it. Now you mask that 200-point mark. You can get to what? Right around 215 if you hold on to the remainder of this time for Longhorn, but it looks like the main priority now is trying to set back up for this P1 hill, which they have been able to get a good amount of time on the last time through. They didn't let UTA even touch this hill on the last set of rotations.
60-point lead. Mavericks, they're starting to heat up, but is it enough to send us to a map number 5? You need to start up. You need to start now. Schlep, 5 in a row. Line bomb now for the Mavericks to work with. Has to turn around. Knows there's some players here to contest. Velocity is cut. Schlep now full shrieks into the hill. Mavericks collecting as much time as they can. Saucy finds the break. So now nobody into this. Take a look at the time clock, Jesse. Only 44 seconds to work with.
Just about to bring it up. Yeah, just about to bring that up. Only 40 seconds left in the game clock. So the longer this game stays contested, the better it works out for the Longhorns as well. So I expect that when we go to this next tank hill, neither team can win on this one, but Longhorns, they'll be able to take the win on the next hill. And I expect to see a ton of streaks on both sides being invested here, because the longer that hill stays unoccupied and the longer it stays contested, the better and better it is for the Longhorns here, as they are only a few seconds away from being able to close this game out by the win and 25 seconds away from being able to close it out due to game clock.
3-0 down. You need to stop this clock if you're Mavericks. So they're going to start off with the initial time, and they're going to find the initial kills. These are where the streaks can come through. As soon as they drop up, here they come. Glide bomb number 1. Slap's going to find 2. Round it. Mickey, though, clears this hill. Still Mavericks on the inside of it. Going to be collecting this. Saucy in for the contention. Prodigy, the last one alive, but off the respawn, Schlep comes to help. Saucy's going to find the break. And now Longhorns from the front line looking to keep themselves out of it. 14.4 seconds, Jesse, and this is going to be dire because the Longhorns, they are moments away from putting this away.
But the pinch through Church, Mavericks, they get back in, but it's so close. Like we said, all you need is 10 seconds of contest time here or in occupant time for Longhorns to be able to win this game. And they hop on in. They're just contesting time.
They have so much comfort right now, Jesse. In only 6 seconds, they're hopping off and Schlepp on the inside. Still contention, going to be running from these players, and you just can't find it so far. 1 second left, and the Longhorns are going to put this one through. A 3-1 victory on the night, and they're going to take down the UTA Mavericks.
Love how they played that last hill. They knew that all they needed to do was keep UTA off of the hill. And what do, Colin? They not only keep them off the hill, but what they did was they sat a player outside by the tank, by the contention spot in like that top right-hand side of the tanks. And what they did was as soon as they saw somebody contest the hill from the Mavericks, they would hop onto the hill from that contest spot. And then as soon as that player ended up falling on barrels, they would step off and just let the game clock keep running. It was the perfect play from them there in that hill, and it really helped them close it out. I'm surprised we didn't. I don't know if we didn't see them come in or if University of Texas at Arlington just decided not to invest their streaks in that final hill. But Strident's had some, so I was kind of surprised not to see those come through.
Now, I was surprised as well. And you know what? The slang doesn't even feel like it was that crazy. I mean, aside from Mickey.
Yeah, it wasn't.
23. I mean, that's
a little ridiculous.
Bokosh in a nutshell right there, what Mickey just put up on that screen. But, I mean, slang wasn't the issue. And, in fact, it was side by side, like a tie game up until the second set of rotations.
Yeah, it really was. It was really well, I mean, it was after the third hill. I think that's when it really started to kind of lopside for the likes of the Longhorns because they were down going into that Grandma's Hill, and then they held it from the front, got a little bit of a 10-second lead. But you know where, for me, I really feel like the Mavericks kind of lost this game, Colin, was in that first set of rotations at the very last hill of the first set when they used that glide bomb when they already had early setup and didn't find any value out of it. They didn't get any kills with it. And their player got pushed off the dovecot tree where he was just from that willow tree where he was sitting, and he had a great positioning. And then they were never able to touch that hill again. There was 2 times in that game where the Longhorns just completely stopped Mavericks from being able to touch the hill. It was that hill there, and it was the second set of rotations, hill number 1, where the Mavericks couldn't get anything, and that was where they ended up winning that game out for me.
I agree with it. I mean, that streak could have made or break that first set of rotations for the likes of the Mavericks, but it didn't. And Longhorns, I mean, you just see why they're so good right now inside this division. And I mean, no threat to the Mavericks. I mean, that could have easily been a 2-0 off that Search and Destroy going into the control. You just lose that round 11. You have not the start you wanted to have, and you're fighting from a deficit going into a set of maps that you don't want to go to begin with. I mean, Longhorns, they played the long game, and they walked out on top, which is ultimately what we expected them to do inside their keys to victory.
Yeah, it really is what we expected from this series. And I mean, when you look at this overall series and you come into this, when you see Longhorns are 5-3, you're probably thinking, it's probably not a great chance that these guys come in and take it. But I mean, you couldn't be more wrong. This team absolutely showed up here in this series. And now, if you're the Mavericks, you are in a rough spot here in this division because now you've also got 3 losses. When you look at the rest of this division here and you're really looking overall at things, St. Edwards is 8-0, Texas State 7-1. We said that when we came into this. Those 2 teams are very likely not going to lose again this entire division. Tamu Maroon is in a very good spot at 6-2. If you're Texas at Arlington, this was a must-win series. You lost it, and now you need to go up against St. Edwards in your next match this week. Not a great spot to be in for yourselves.
I mean, there's only 2 more weeks for this first season or for this first stage, so you need to make sure the rest is good. You got those shadows chasing you right now if you're Mavericks and Longhorns, and with this win from the Longhorns, it's just going to open up so much opportunities, Jesse. But that's going to be it for our second match of the day, folks. Here on the CCL Bravo stream, we're all done too. Coming up next, it's going to be Oklahoma State versus Oklahoma Christian. And joining me on the desk is going to be Spider Tiff. So, Jesse, this is where you are going to be dipping out. It was a great map, a great match indeed. But up next, folks, we got more College COD.